It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're going live here on YouTube and Facebook as we want to welcome in a candidate for the Pennsylvania Superior Court, Maria Battista. She's been on the show before. Maria, welcome back. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here this afternoon.
You've got a full day here in Erie, right? And full evening?
I have a full evening. Yes, sir.
I'm glad that you're
events.
here.
Yes,
fantastic, sir. Fantastic. All right, so this is not your first rodeo. You're running for Superior Court, and I think I had the best explanation about the Superior Court from you. So I would love for you to share that with my audience of what is the Superior Court?
Well, first and foremost, I heard it from one of the judges that were on our Zoom call the other night, and they called it the People's Court. It really is. And then the Commonwealth Court, think of that as the government court. Those are two intermediate appellate courts in Pennsylvania. So think of one as the People's Court, the Superior Court, and the Commonwealth Court as the government court. So in Erie County, you have your Court of Common Pleas. You have some candidates running right now for the judge of your Court of Common Pleas. That court in Erie hears all the criminal cases in your community and hears civil cases, whether that is family matters, that's real estate matters, oil and gas matters, if there's a state issue, contract matters, if someone gets injured, personal injury matters, and so much more. If someone believes that a decision in your court in Erie, there was an error committed, or say there was a wrong jury instruction, whatever it might be on the criminal side, all criminal cases, if appealed, go to the Superior Court from your Court of Common Pleas. That's about 60% of the caseload that goes to the Superior Court.
Is crim, basically.
The
60% is the criminal side. Yeah.
Then the other 40%, the next largest body of law, so the other 40% approximately is the civil cases. Okay. So if you want to keep your community safe, you want judges who are going to uphold our law and Constitution and treat everyone fairly regardless of their party affiliation, and many aren't even registered to vote. That has nothing to do with our courts. Politics should be kept out of the courtroom. So all criminal cases go up, and then when we talk about the civil cases, do you want to protect your families, your children? All of those family and children matters go to the Superior Court. People are most familiar with child custody cases between two parents or a third party.
So sometimes that would actually be appealed, huh?
Yes. If they believe that the judge abused his or her discretion in Erie County and they gave primary custody to one of the parents over another, or a parent is relocating, or a grandparent, or whatever the case might be, every case is different. If it's appealed from your court, it goes to the Superior Court.
Okay, so what is the makeup of the Superior Court?
The Superior Court has 15 judges.
Oh, wow.
Right now, it's the largest court of the appellate courts. So our Supreme Court has 7 justices. Right below the Supreme Court is the Superior Court and the sister court, the Commonwealth. Again, all criminal and most civil cases go to the Superior. There are 8 Democrats, 6 Republicans, 1 vacancy. It should not matter what the judge political affiliation is personally, because you're supposed to have justice for all.
Right.
But we have seen sometimes that we shake our head and saying, how did this decision come about? You want
there's only 1 vacancy. So you basically are in this race against a Democrat running for Superior Court?
Actually, believe it or not, there are 2 candidates in addition to myself.
Okay, how did that work? So there is a Republican I'm the Republican candidate. I'm number 2 on the ballot. My opponent, the Democratic opponent, is from Washington County, and it was only the 2 of us from the primary. Yeah.
But a third party entered this race at the end of July, and objections weren't filed by August 9th. So you'll see a third party candidate on the ballot, and the name of their party is called the Liberal Party.
Okay.
So you'll see 3 candidates. You'll see the Democratic candidate as number 1, because the decision of how we're listed on the ballot is based on who our governor is, whether he or she is Republican or Democrat.
Okay.
We have a Democrat governor, so every first ballot position is
in the general election.
In the general is a Democratic candidate.
Yeah, somebody was asking that about another race of like, why are all the Democrats at the top of the ballot?
It's based on who's sitting governor. And that's only in the general. In the primary, we draw.
You pull
to see who gets that.
All right. So let's talk about Maria Battista.
Yes.
Thanks for the explanation.
Sure.
Tell us about your current experience in the law.
So what's really important to know is you want someone that has a broad understanding of the various types of law that go there, because there's so many different types. I'm the only candidate of the three that's a former prosecutor. I work closely with law enforcement. I've done those jury trials. I've done those bench trials. I also did earlier in my career the types of civil cases, whether that's family matters, contracts, business law, estate issues, personal injury. I even did insurance defense work. So all those broad categories, obviously I'm not an expert at everything, right, but all those broad categories I've done. I also was certified as a contracting officer when I worked for the Navy. I was not active duty for those listening, but I did serve the warfighter, and I had to resign from my job in the Navy in 2023, January 3rd, in order to run in 2023, because you're not allowed to be a federal employee. But I have 2 additional years of certification to get as a contracting officer for our Department of Defense. Again, different types of contracts.
Like a JAG or?
No, it was the Navy.
Okay, the Navy. Okay.
So I was doing the procurement department, doing weapon system support and engaging in those contracts with contract.
The Navy needs lawyers for contracts.
Well, they need contracting officers too that are going to actually be on the floor and do that. And so, it was an honor to serve in the civilian capacity. Now, my dad, I come from 2 generations of military family. My father was in World War II, the Battle of the Bulge, and my brother was a colonel in the Air Force as a lawyer. And he was also the judge advocate for the entire state of Ohio. Now, he was Air Force. My dad was Army, and I was helping in the Navy. Not as they were active,
covered, right, Maria?
They were both active, yes, sir. But the other thing that's important. So I've done the criminal, I've done the types of civil cases, but I have never been a sitting judge on a court of common pleas. But of the 6 Republicans that are sitting on this court, only 1 was a former judge of a court of common pleas before they were elected to the Superior Court. Most people that do run for this court are not sitting judges, but they make excellent judges on this court because they have the practice of those types of areas that go there. But I did serve under 2 governors. I served under Governor Corbett and Governor Wolf, both in the Department of Health and the Department of State. When I was in Department of Health, I was doing public protection. I oversaw home care, home health care, hospices, birth centers, dialysis centers, as well as worked in joint jurisdiction with our Office of Attorney General on health care matters. Then when I went to the Department of State, I was a board counsel, but I was also a hearing examiner. So a hearing examiner in the Department of State is similar to the Public Utility Commission that has what they call administrative law judges, and they were called hearing examiners or officers in Department of Environmental Protection. But they overheard cases with real witnesses, experts in hearings. We didn't do jury trials, and it was administrative law, so it was a different type of law. Those are type cases that would actually go to the Commonwealth. I was
going to say, this sounds a lot like what Matt Wolford's was talking
doing
about.
Yes, that's correct. So all those
environmental law,
Yes, but it's more than environmental law. The Commonwealth Court hears all types of cases dealing with government. It hears state agencies, your local agencies, school funding cases. But those skills I had as a hearing examiner, issuing hundreds of decisions, and if they were ultimately appealed, would have gone to the Commonwealth Court, are the same skills that you need of a judge on the Superior Court. And by the way, I have one extra thing that distinguishes me from both of my opponents, and that is this, and it's not required to be a judge on the Superior Court, but it's very helpful. I have 5 degrees. 3 are in education. I taught in K through 12. I have a master's, and I have a doctorate in education in addition to my law degree. When you're dealing with children's and family and children and what's in the best interest of the child and trying to determine if there was abuse of discretion from your court of common pleas in Erie County, would you rather have one of those 3? The most cases, by the way, on the Superior Court are heard by 3 judges. It's random, so you don't know what 3 judges are going to be assigned to that case. So would you rather have a sitting judge of the 3 that actually understands children with special needs, children with autism? I have those experiences professionally, and I've been a continuing legal education trainer for oral arguments, for mediation, and healthcare matters over my career, and I can help guide other judges that are in the Court of Common Pleas that see these children in person, where I would not. I'd be getting a cold transcript up above and all the reports to review. But I have those experiences, and to my knowledge, not only on the Superior, to my knowledge, I don't know any sitting judge on any of the 3 high courts that have that background to review those cases.
Maria Battista is with us here. She is running for Pennsylvania Superior Court judge. And Maria, it makes me want to ask, like, who gets to choose what cases will be heard by the Superior Court and what cases will be denied for appeal? How does that work?
So,
and again, would your involvement be in on that? I
think the question you're really asking, but I'm going to try to answer it 2 different ways.
Okay.
Usually it's the Supreme Court that has that discretion to decide if they want to hear it or not. The Superior would actually, it can go up on appeal, but there could be defects of how people file.
Appeal, right?
Yes.
So is there a clerk that says, you didn't do it right?
Well, there's a Prothonotary's office, but it's kind of hard to do this in a hypothetical because there's so many variations of what could happen. But you have that
sounds like the Superior kind of sees all of them? All the appeals?
And they could say that, you didn't properly, it could be, it's kind of hard to explain on this radio show, but there could be decisions that say that it was not timely filed, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. But it's our Supreme Court that they may not, they may not grant. So
there's nothing, there's nothing in your judicial philosophy that would say, okay, this is a good case to take to you don't make that decision. All the cases go to the Superior Court if they're not deficient. Is that what you're saying?
Criminal cases and most civil cases. So what happens is the decision's made by a panel of 3 judges in most cases. Sometimes it's a larger panel if it's en banc, but in most cases it's a panel of 3 judges. And so what people say, well, hey, Maria, I get that, but I still don't understand why I need to vote because I'm never going to be a party to an action. So why should I care? Why should I vote for you?
Yeah.
And the answer is because in about 97% of those cases, the decisions become final. They're never appealed to the Supreme Court, and we're subject to those decisions. So you get a panel of 3 judges. I've had, for example, district attorneys in a couple counties when I'm going to events saying, Maria, did you know that in the Superior Court there was a decision by this panel of 3 judges that impacts my ability to do my job and keep your community safe and what I can advise law enforcement? So it's very important that people pay attention, because if they want their community safe, they want to protect their families, they want someone that's going to uphold the law, be independent, common sense, and be fair and impartial without bias or prejudice, and keep politics out of the courtroom, then you want a judge, regardless of their party affiliation, that you believe is what's going to do right and give justice for all Pennsylvanians, not just one party or another, because justice is to be blind. And that's what everybody wants. And that's what I can tell you across this Commonwealth, not just in Erie County, rural counties like I'm from northwestern Pennsylvania, but whether I've been in an urban area, suburban, or rural, people work hard every single day. It's enough for them to go job, take care of their families, pay their bills. The last thing they want is they have to go to court is that they feel they don't want the fixes in. They want to know that they're going to have a fair chance to be heard, a fair opportunity to be heard. And if that case happens to go up on appeal, they want to know that there's not a predisposition of any judge, and they want to know that when that decision is made, that they reviewed fairly and impartially, without politics, without bias, regardless of the outcome. People want the opportunity to be heard fairly, and that's what I hear across the Commonwealth.
A lot of this depends on the skill of either the prosecutor or of the defense, right? And especially when we talk about criminal.
Yes.
And so much of criminal cases are handled by exhausted, public defenders and things. Is that all working in your opinion? Are you allowed to even talk about it?
Well, I can't really comment because it's a hypothetical,
right?
And again, we have to be fair and impartial. Sure. So I can't give my opinion on any types of lawyers or anything like that, or like that. But what I can tell you is this: everyone wants good representation. Whether people say that they did or did not have that is their ability to say so. I'm not going to comment on any lawyer or prosecutor or public defender or a criminal defense attorney. That is a determination that a party can make that decision in his or her own discretion if they feel that there was something that went wrong in the court of common pleas.
Is that an avenue for appeal? Is that the defendant says
ineffective assistance of counsel that could potentially?
Does it come up a lot? Yeah,
it can come up.
All right, so tell me about, because we just have like a minute and a half left. Your passion towards this. Explain it to me. Why do you want to do this?
I was not recruited to run, and in 2009-10, I don't know if you remember, because it was on the other side of the state, that the Cash for Kids scandal happened in Luzerne County.
Yes.
And I was teaching juvenile justice, criminal procedure, and administration of justice in addition to practicing law. And I had a symposium about women in the courts because they were gaining momentum, because prior to that, most of the seats on these high courts in Pennsylvania were mostly men. And we saw some momentum by women in the Commonwealth Court, not so much in the Superior or Supreme. But then the next year, I said, I got to talk about this. I got to give a voice to the voiceless. And so I called Sandra Schultz Newman, the retired Justice Mike Aiken. I had Judge Cherry. I had the Chief Counsel of the Department of Education. I talked to the victim advocate at the time, Carol Lavery. I had Vic Stabile as my moderator, who's actually sitting on the Superior Court now. He wasn't even running at the time. And that was aired statewide. And the reason why I did that is I was shocked. I was appalled that we had 2 sitting judges in a court of common pleas in Luzerne, similar to Erie, that was corrupt. They took kickbacks. They put children into detention facilities, over 5,000 cases. Some of those children committed suicide. And so we put this program on Pennsylvania Cable Network, aired it statewide, and Sandy Newman, Justice Sandra Schultz Newman, said to me, Maria, why aren't you running for judge? I had no intention of ever running for judge. He said, if you care that much about the people and the children and making sure that they're protected, why aren't you running? And she planted a seed in 2010. And it took me 13 years to finally make that commitment and resign from a job to make that commitment, because I'm thinking I'm running out of time. And if I want to make a difference, and then when we saw all the lockdowns, we saw everything during COVID, some of those decisions were by our Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Yeah. It's like, it's either now or never. It's either I'm going to make this decision to affirmatively run to try to give one more seat and protect one more seat on our high courts where it impacts the people. Again, the Superior Court, one of the judges on my program the other night said, it's the people's court. One more judge to do what's right for all people in all cases.
We'll leave it there. What's your website, Maria?
My website is Battista for Judge, B as in boy, ATTISTA FOR Judge.com. Facebook is Battista for Judge as well. Instagram is Maria Battista for Judge, and X is Battista with the number 4, because you can only have 15 characters judge.
I appreciate you taking the time. Have a fun day here in Erie, PA. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And there is on my website, folks, a video that has gotten over 12,000 views. We haven't even boosted it. It's called Determined to Make a Difference. Please watch that. It's on my website and on my Facebook. Thank you.
Back after the news here. It's Talk Erie.